All right. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a beautiful day. Hope you're doing wonderful. Akia Me here, the Success Scholar. We are live here. It's an honor and pleasure to join you here in every day in every way. So I hope you all have been tuning in to my YouTube's Raising Consciousness and Capital on YouTube's, as well as Raising Consciousness and Capital on my Facebook group page or the Teaching Artist Institute page, where we've been multitasking and broadcasting live, of course. But I wanted to have this opportunity. Of course, many of you have seen the Dr. Luck interview, Dr. Tony Luck, who was a uh, friend to Winnie Mandela, and she led off with our discussion about South Africa. And of course, you've seen the interview with myself, and for those uh, perhaps a few months ago, but I have now the opportunity to speak to a sister, young lady, and we're going to talk about South Africa, uh, and she will be a speaker there. So let me just sort of, and let me first, Sister Jennifer Fulian, who's here, but let me first show a little bit of something that's going to be going on, or not going on, something in South Africa, the Zulu dances. And Jennifer, you let me know if you see the screen once I bring it up, because I don't do that a whole lot. I just get on here and talk. And I'm also broadcasting from my Harambe Books page. Let me look that up here and make sure that that's still going good. It should be somewhere. Okay, all right. So I can see it as well. But we're talking about the 5th annual Artizen 2021 conference, which will be in Johannesburg, South Africa. And I'll change that banner to put the dates up there, November the 5th through the 8th. And then there's the tour for those that are interested in that, from the 9th through the 19th. So we are inviting amazing guests and speakers, and the U.S. speaker keynote is Jennifer Fulian. So let me go ahead and share this video here. Share screen and Microsoft Edge. And okay, let's throw this Zulu tribal dancers up here. And let me know if you can see this, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Okay, let me figure this out here. Okay. Let's try this. Just a second. Okay. Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, hold on. Let me pull you back up here. All right. Let me did I end the screen share?
Yes.
Uh-oh. Okay. I saw someone else on, but maybe they'll chime back in. Thank you. I'm sorry. Thanks for texting me. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. Okay. We are here live. Thank you for joining in. Thank you. I hope you all enjoyed the Zulu dancers, and we have a wonderful, amazing announcement. Sister Jennifer Fulian, who will be making an amazing announcement today. So, Sister Jennifer, I'll let you come in and I'll ask you a few questions, but just open up and introduce yourself to everyone.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me today. And so my name is Jennifer Fulian. I live in the Baltimore area. I was born and raised in Hampton, Virginia, and I'm Cherokee, Pueblo, Aztec, and Spanish. My family is from New Mexico and California. And I'm proud to be involved in our Indigenous communities and to share culture, healing, understanding. And my forte is through the arts. So I love exploring conversations and healing through the arts. And today I wanted to just come out to all my friends and community and announce that I have been asked to be a keynote speaker for the South Africa Artizen Conference happening in November. So I'm so excited. I've been recruiting a team of people to join me. Raisa may pop on in and out. I have about a team of 10 people. We have artists, people who do film, dance, crafts. And we are excited to be sharing messages from Turtle Island to South Africa. I think we're in a very critical time period politically and just as a time on Earth and our civilization that Indigenous and African principles, cultures, and stories are what will rebirth this next era. So I'm just so happy and excited if you're tuning in. We're going to South Africa. Woohoo!
Right. Okay. Let me pull my screen back up here. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Let me exit solo. All right. So, yeah. So we are excited. We are excited definitely to have you join us here. So, as you mentioned, you are in Cherokee. And what's the other one? I'm sorry.
Pueblo and Aztec.
Oh, okay, okay, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, and thank you for offering that. So I'm sure many people may, and this is why I played the video because many people may ask, what's the correlation between Indigenous South African communities and Indigenous population in South African communities, and how does that resonate with you?
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. And some people on my team, like I said, will be popping in and out. I see Miss Linda has joined us here. Hi, Linda.
Okay.
So we're just getting started. We're just making the announcement that I've been invited as a keynote speaker to the South Africa conference, representing Turtle Island, sharing our stories of hope, resilience, and healing, especially through Indigenous arts. And Haki was mentioning, okay, what exactly does that mean? Well, here in what we call Turtle Island is Canada, America, South America, and many of our creation stories have this area being birthed as Turtle Island. Many of us across Turtle Island were from different clans, tribes, traditions, but collectively we consider ourselves indigenous to this land and share many similar teachings and principles and also very unique principles. So in coming to South Africa, which is a conference for artists, artisans, people who consider themselves social transformers in our communities, I'm excited to share my own personal story of my journey of healing through art and expressive arts modalities, and to share other stories that relate to that journey. I'll be launching my program, Spread Your Wings, The Courage to Fly, which is a program that works through the life cycle of the butterfly. And we explore that cycle through different modalities of art. So that's why I'm excited to have the team that I have coming with me: dancers, art therapists, people in film. All the people on my team I've met either at conferences or through different synchronicities, who represent their own Indigenous cultures and their local communities.
Right. Beautiful. Yes. And we are excited about this. This is the Teaching Artists Institute's 5th conference. And the Teaching Artists Institutes, we do conferences or have done conferences in Ghana, the Gambia, Uganda, and just last year in Tanzania. So we are excited about South Africa this year. Many issues, of course, have been happening rather recently in South Africa. And so we want to bring that healing modality and correlate or sort of combine the unique experiences that can lead to a cultural exchange, shall I say. So we think it's important for different cultures to have this understanding, and particularly those indigenous people from here to go to South Africa. And what I did not know as much when I went to Tanzania just this past June, one of the elders was explaining that some of the slaves actually came from South Africa. I didn't, sometimes you miss those parts of history. So many of us who haven't done that deep dive, for instance, who are here, we may not know all of that history. And so we're excited for you. So art of social transformation is the theme. So just, describe your work in the art of social transformation space. I know you may have already touched on it, but what does that mean for you? How would you describe that? So,
yeah, that's a great question, and I'd like to give a chance to briefly introduce 2 of my teammates.
Okay, sounds good.
If Raisa is able to hop on, I know you're on lunch break, but maybe you can say a few words. But so we have in this time period, since George Floyd, Black Lives Matter, there's been a lot of social injustices kind of unearthing things that we've known about for a long time, but now it's in the discussion of many more public areas. And in my area, through Black Lives Matter, we in Baltimore, we're having lots of discussions about changing Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. And in many cities, many statues were being toppled and taken down. And so that opened up the discussion of what do these monuments really mean? Other issues in our Indigenous community is the whole missing, murdered Indigenous women, where we have a high rate of women who go missing and murdered. And I know Raisa has raised a lot of awareness through her sewing projects, through different things that she's done. And she will be leading some workshops to show even the importance of our ribbon skirts and different teachings of how art and crafts aren't just for art and crafts sake, but they actually can impact. And now we're bringing more awareness as our children are being found in these residential school areas. Many of us are doing things like that. So first, I'd like to introduce Raisa, if you'd like to say a few words before you have to go back to work. Just a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how you feel about coming to South Africa and what you would like to share.
Raisa, I don't see her picture. She's muted, but no.
Okay.
But
maybe when she hops back on. Okay. And then I have another dear friend, Miss Linda. Oh wait, here's Raisa. Okay. So Raisa, if you would like to share a little bit where you're from, and
just unmute yourself, Raisa.
Yeah.
Unmute yourself. Okay, great.
Hello, my name's Raisa Jones. I'm an enrolled member of the Lumbee Tribe of North Carolina, and I'm from Pembroke, North Carolina. Please excuse me. I'm on my lunch break, and I just ran up the stairs to my apartment when I heard Jennifer asking me to introduce myself. But so as she stated, I do a little bit of sewing here and there. I got interested in making ribbon skirts some years ago because I feel that our cultures and traditions are very much tied into the things that we wear in a time when cultural expression through speaking our languages, practicing our ceremonies and traditions was outlawed. A lot of the time, one of the ways that we managed to preserve tradition was in the continuation of making our sacred clothing. And so the ribbon skirts, which arose around the Wisconsin area among the Anishinaabe people, primarily through trade with Europeans, they used the trade goods that they received in order to tell their stories in the clothes that they wore. And so in studying these traditions and talking to elders from different nations who also, make and wear ribbon skirts, I realized that, these aren't just clothing to the people that were making these things. This was survival. This was, a way to tell your story in a wider world that was trying to erase you. And so I was really surprised when Jennifer asked me to go on this journey with her, because we randomly met at a genealogy conference here in Pembroke, and we've been corresponding since then. So it was a real surprise to me. And when I started, hearing more about the conference, she helped me come up with the idea to actually take part in a cultural exchange by helping to teach some history of the ribbon skirts in South Africa and demonstrate how we create these using the traditional African fabrics. And I think that this kind of cultural exchange is really important because, like I said, our clothing here is sacred, just as the type of clothing that you make and wear in your traditions in Africa is sacred. It tells who you are. It tells where your people come from. And so I thought this was a really neat way to tie these traditions together.
Thank you, Raisa. And thank you for running up the stairs. So I really appreciate having Raisa in my life. And similarly, I met Miss Linda at another conference. And we became good friends, and I've been following her work. And we met at in Winnipeg a few years ago at an expressive arts conference, and we had the opportunity to do a pre-week of decolonizing through the arts. And we were using art, drama, different modalities to unpack what does it mean to decolonize through the arts and have conversations between First Nation people and settlers. And that was a very powerful week. And then we went into another week of different modalities. So Miss Linda, she's a art therapist. She's a revolutionary. She just came back from doing an awesome water walk, which she can share more about. And just the act of that, as a lot of us in our communities, this idea of art as social justice and transformation, the kinds of people that we are, and just all of ourselves connected to what's going on in the current situation of caring about our water, our earth, our people, and doing it through creative ways and out in the public and out in the streets. So I'd like to introduce Miss Linda, and if you would like to say anything about your water walk or any of the work that you do with art therapy and what excites you about this bringing messages from Turtle Island to Africa.
Hi, good morning. Well, good morning here. There and whatever else, wherever else we are calling in from. Can you hear me pretty good?
Yes, we hear you. Down clear. Let's see.
I'm
Just have to get your screen up. Oh, there we go. Yay!
yeah. So I'm still trying to ground myself from my walk. You know, I feel as if I'm in a different world right now. So, yeah, after walking for 37 days, I think, along the North Saskatchewan River. Yeah, so I'm just kind of trying to ground myself right now. Hopefully I can make some sense here. So a lot of the things that I do is with art therapy, and it comes from a perspective, because I believe that our art is, or our stories are embedded in our DNA, and a lot of people sometimes don't know who they are, and don't understand where they're coming from. But one of the things I learned is that when I do the about our culture, or in the area that I'm in, then they seem to be about to know that what learn our story is all in our life. You know, so no matter how far away you are from your culture, or how you lost that, and it still comes up.
She's sort of in and out. Just a second. Yeah, you're sort of in and out, Miss Linda. Jennifer, you can't hear too, so I don't know. I mean, it's just the sound, but let's try it again. Just go back maybe 2 minutes to you left. Jennifer, you know what she last stated, perhaps from the water walk post?
Yeah.
Just try it again, and if we can't, we'll just...
Yeah, just try now that the camera's closer to you. Maybe that'll...
Oh, okay,
Yep.
okay. Okay, great.
Okay. So, am I good now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So maybe I was just too far away from the camera. Yeah. I'm just using my phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the water walk was basically about because there's a lot of issues with the water in Turtle Island, and so what we wanted to do was to walk to create a sacredness for the water, to make people aware how important the water is for our life. And so we go back into our own history about water, or into our own being, that we as women carry life in us, and we are the life carriers. And so in that same way, it was the women who carried the water to for all those miles or kilometers, as you would, and we took it from the headwaters of where the water starts to where the river forks off, which is a little over 1,000 kilometers. 1,094 kilometers. So that's how far we carried this pail of water to help with awareness about the importance of water. And there's so much happening out there, and when we were walking, you saw the changes in nature, like water drying up, the rivers are drying up, the small streams are drying up, uh, the plants and the medicines were not there anymore. The berries are small, they're going away. The animals are very skinny, very small. So uh, the climate change that's happening here is very predominant, and even in the glaciers up, because we started in the mountains, and where we picked up the water from the glacier water, and even the glaciers are melting very quickly, and then we've got enormous fires going on in that area. Um, but yeah, but it was to create some awareness about the sacredness of water, the importance of water, that water is life. Water has memory, and so those are the kinds of things that we try to to tell people. Or it was not a protest. I wouldn't say it was a protest. It was just a walk to bring consciousness about the importance of water. And then in my art therapy, as I was saying earlier, I try to use um, our traditional teachings, our traditional stories, to bring back, to help bring back a sense of belonging to the people, because a lot of them don't know their stories anymore, and so we bring that to them, and that's what they need to carry that life forward, to change their own lives also. But a lot of the problem there is that we um, people are not connected to their identity, and part of their identity is the stories, and so we try to bring those into the art so that they can connect with their identity. And a lot of times people don't know uh, their stories, but also don't know that they were Indigenous. They have that Indigenous blood in them. And so when we start to do the art therapy, there are things that come out of the stories, out of their art, that shows where they need to go to get their teachings, their stories, or whatever, um, because it's their bloodline, their ancestral bloodline, that is speaking to them, and it's coming out in their art without them knowing it. But the important thing is that you yourself, as the art therapist, need to know the stories, and so that you can make those connections for them. And so that's what I've been able to do for them. Like, it's just amazing how the art works for our people here, and without them knowing, that this is what they're doing, but also making it a safe place for them to bring out their traumas or whatever. We just do the art with them, and it just comes out without them really knowing what's happening, and then we try to work with them in that way. But that's how I've been working lately with the art therapy. And then this water walk was just something that I just decided to do. um, and it was an amazing walk, because one of the things that happened was that as we were walking along, uh, people, and not just the Indigenous communities, but also the settler communities, would come out and say, well, what are you doing? Why are you walking? What is that? And so we would tell them, and they would just be moved by what we were doing, and just thanking us for doing that, and bringing that awareness. Yeah. So basically, that's what I do. And I don't know. I'd have to, like I say, I'm still trying to ground myself from where I've been. So I'll have to think about things about how I'm going to present myself with this conference. But I'm very thrilled about it, and to share something, with another Indigenous country. The people, like in South Africa, the Indigenous people there love to share their creation stories or their traditional ceremonies, and work with them in that way, So yeah, so that's basically it for me.
Thank you so much. That was really heart touching. I really thank you for doing the walk and for who you are, and take your time reflecting and getting grounded. I just want to also recognize Rain Dawn is listening in on Facebook. She also will be traveling with us to South Africa. She's also an Indigenous artist, intuitive henna artist, and does a lot of amazing work. She's an art educator. And we'll have more talks and discussions going forward as we continue our launch towards November to have an opportunity to meet all the members on my team. But she just gives a shout out to Miss Linda. Thank you for being here and for what you do for all our relations. Water is the blood of Mother Earth. And she was agreeing, art as a statement, a conversation to remember that we're all connected. And I think that is so important what you're saying is, even as Raisa was talking, I myself as an adult to understand my own story and my own relations, and just being able to feel the fabric or make a ribbon skirt or pick up a hand drum for the first time and sing in our language. I remember when Linda and I had the opportunity to go up to Turtle Lodge, and we were in there doing ceremony and prayers and singing in Indigenous languages. And there was something very different about that experience. I felt that I was able to connect to my ancestors. I've lost a baby in the past. My father has been deceased, and my father died at age 60. And I felt that he had come to me in Turtle Lodge and said, this is what I had wanted to teach you. We had a very difficult relationship. And I felt like in those sacred spaces that we can have healing, we can forgive people, we can forgive our parents. And that's part of my story as well, of why I'm excited to come to South Africa. Kind of ironically, I've been doing a lot of clearing up of my life, like to restore integrity. So some of that means I've cleared all the stuff out of my storage unit. I've been going through being able to purge different things. And this has been very difficult for me because I've always held on to everything. And so recently I've been going through like old essays that I wrote, old diaries, old things I saved from school, from being in elementary school, middle school, high school, being married, losing the baby, going through sympathy cards, congratulation cards, and it was like all these things. And I came across these two letters, and it was from this organization called People to People. And you can see one is dated like October 1994, and one is December 12th, 1994. And I didn't even really remember this. And I started to kind of get like goosebumps opening this letter that 1994, I guess I was about 16, 17, probably 17. And I was invited to be an ambassador to an arts program. And it was the Four Corners Arts Program, Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, Colorado. It was bringing arts students together for this special thing. And I was asked to be a delegate for the Student Arts Ambassador. And it was like all these wonderful things, like go to the Navajo reservation and look at the Anasazi rock paintings, Navajo weaving, like all these things that I had dreamt about doing as a teenager, of being able to connect to my cultures, because my family's from New Mexico in that area. And it talked about like how People to People was founded in 1956 by Dwight Eisenhower to promote world peace and international understanding through direct contact between private citizens. And goes on to like, what is the role of a student ambassador? And rereading this letter, then I remember dreaming about that. And I wrote on the back of this envelope, okay, if it costs this much, how much would I need to save each month to be able to go? And unfortunately, I wasn't able to go, but I just remember looking at these things and these beautiful, like, little posters, and it was like all this native stuff. And I say that because at the time I was living in a foster home. When I was age 14, I was put into foster care. My father was arrested. My mother was living homeless at the time. And the only place for me to go was a foster home. There wasn't like family in the area because I was living on the East Coast. And so that whole experience of the reason I went into foster care is that I finally told my story that I had been a survivor of rape and incest since the age of 4. And it wasn't just only my father, but several people in the neighborhood. So there was about 9 different people who had abused me from the age of 4 to 14. And I remember that was a very difficult decision to make at age 14. I'd had a fight with my dad, and my dad had never hit me, but I had grown up seeing him hit my mother. And there was a lot of domestic violence in the home. And it was a very, like I said, complicated relationship where on the one hand, my dad was very smart, intellectual, an artist. And I felt a lot of times that I was a lot like him. So at the age of 14, there was a fight. The police were called. I had a decision to make that the police told me either go home or come with us to the police station. And when I looked over to go home with my dad, I just saw my life flash before my eyes. And I thought that on that particular night, he hit me, and he had never hit me before. And I just felt like there was death over that way if I went that way. So I went to the police station, and I just told whatever. I finally told my whole story. Didn't really know the consequences of that it would mean that technically my dad would be arrested and I would be placed in foster care, and all the ramifications of that whole process. So I spent 4 years in foster care. So getting these letters at age 17, the foster homes, I went to 2 foster homes. They were white, Christian, military families. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Very structured. And there weren't any like Indigenous foster homes to go to. So I learned very quickly like how to do everything right, how to get the straight A's. And so culture during that time as a foster kid, it was more like, if you want to adapt to society and the right ways to do things, you don't necessarily have like pride in your culture. So like if I would come down the stairs and my hair would be in braids, or if I was wearing like little beaded artwork, they're like, oh, Jennifer, you're kind of looking like a hippie today. Or don't you think it'd be nicer if you had your hair shorter? Or, just kind of like little suggestions along the way. But I really miss that connection to my native culture and how we used to go to family reunions in New Mexico. So getting these letters again and finding these was a reminder that this is who I've been the whole time. Sort of like Linda was saying, there's memories in the water. There's certain things within this that have always been there, and we may have been lost or disconnected for a long time. So reading these letters, I was like, oh my goodness, like I am being asked to be a Goodwill ambassador from Turtle Island to Africa. And this is what I have dreamt of even since a young teenage girl. And so I'm just so excited in my journey of that healing of, I graduated from foster care, went on to college, done a lot of different things. And I originally went to college for art and psychology, thinking that I would be an art therapist. Then, of course, life happens and go through journeys and marriage and all that kind of stuff. And then it wasn't until years later where I met Miss Linda at the Canadian conference, that I realized there was a whole community of people who do work in an expressive arts. And I wrote a program called Spread Your Wings, the Courage to Fly. Previously, I had done a lot of volunteer work and created my own program called Be More Aloha, which was an event to celebrate survivors of rape, incest, and foster care youth through the arts. And so this Africa journey is like a kick in the butt to me to launch my program and to reawaken those things within me, that I really am that expansive. I am that ambassador, that I no longer have to hide behind what's right or do the right thing or be small, whether it's in my relationships or in my jobs. And so that's what I'm inspired by. And like, as I talk to each of my team members, I get re-inspired by them and their work, that all of us have been doing this work for such a long time, coming from our different stories, our different traumas, unpacking all this hurt and stuff that has happened through generations. Like just, with the children being found in the residential schools, there's so much trauma and pain, but at the same time, so much beauty and inspiration and hope. And I just wanted to share real quickly, thinking about South Africa, one of my favorite quotes from Mandela is that he says, "As I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison." And I was always so shocked when I was learning about Mandela and his story and all the years in prison. It's like, how could he say that? Like, how do you not go crazy? How do you not have extreme bitterness and anger, knowing that you're in prison for things you didn't do or for injustices? Like, how do you go that long of a period and just not lose your mind? And I think about my story. I think about stories across our island, across Africa, across wherever, and know that through the arts, it's not just art for art's sake, but we can find our voices. We can reconnect to ourselves. We can find that inspiration. And I just feel that with this team of people that's going, we're in a totally this is the moment. This is our moment to show how culture, art, and healing is possible on a large scale. So I just wanted to thank Linda and Raisa for being here, for Rain tuning in, for the rest of my team, for anybody watching this later. We're going to continue to have these conversations going forward. Today, I'm actually traveling to Washington State, and I'll be able to meet back up with the Lumi tribe who just came to DC. The Lumi tribe just did the Red Road to DC to raise awareness about our water streams and different Indigenous issues. So I think now, like I said, now is the time where everything's coming together. It's all synchronizing, and I also have Africans on my team as well. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you for being here for this big announcement. If there's more questions and comments, but I just really feel proud, and thank you, Teaching Artists Institute, for believing in my story and the stories of all of us here in Turtle Island.
Yes, beautiful. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for sharing all that. And thank Linda for joining in and sharing her amazing story. And Raisa for joining us as well. So we appreciate all of you. You've all been amazing. So we're looking forward, I'm sure. And thank Rain too, of course. Thank you for joining in as always. But I want a special shout out to Kim Poole, the founder of Teaching Artists Institute. And you can follow the Teaching Artists Institute on her Facebook page, Teaching Artists Institute on Facebook, for all the updates on this particular tour. And for those that would like to offer any support, monetary or otherwise, by sharing this or supporting Jennifer in any way possible, of course, because Delta Airlines and these other places aren't free. And we're not riding boats there. So if anybody would love to offer anything to Jennifer, of course. So to make this trip, please be encouraged to do so. And share this video. Share this video to others. I always say a lot of us doing a little bit is better than a little bit doing a lot. So that's how we get things done and expand our worldview. And recently I've just opened up just to what's going on, on a more global level, and how these issues, even like for instance the water issue, impacts us, here in the U.S. So we need to be in tune. And I believe listening to these stories that were shared today open up a different level of consciousness that we're generally not concerned about. We're only concerned about our immediate person or our immediate family or our immediate community, when there's a global world out here. And the reality is that we can create an impact. And so I want to encourage everyone to understand the power of one, to understand the power of yourself, to create changes that are necessary in your community and in this world. So if anybody has anything else, or if you want to put out a contact information, Jennifer, or if anybody else have any closing things, of course, I'll just go around. If anybody want to say anything, anything that, that's on your spirit to say, please consider doing so. Or typing, Rain.
Yes, thank you. I will be sharing our links to our GoFundMe page.
Oh, yes.
And we'll continue to share more conversations going forward. And if Linda or Raisa want to say anything, thank you so much.
I would just like to add, to what was being said, that we need to start to make connections with other Indigenous communities in the world, and even the settler communities, the non-Indigenous communities. We need to come together as one to make changes in this world, and I really look to the young people to do that. They're my hope right now, because I haven't seen any other changes lately. That would make those help people to go in a different direction. So I really need to stress the fact, that we need to walk together. And that was one of the things that we did on this walk too, is that we included non-Indigenous people as part of the organization, because we need to do this in a collective way if we're going to help Mother through her own survival right at this moment. So I just want. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Miss Linda. Again, I appreciate that, and as Rain says, it starts with the youth. So we appreciate that. So, all right. So this has been beautiful. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Richard from Tanzania has a long statement. Thank you, Richard. We appreciate another Indigenous community in Tanzania. So thank you, Richard, for joining us. We appreciate, both you and everybody else. It starts with the youth, as Richard says here as well. So we appreciate everyone that turned in, and we're going to share this on our other social media pages, Teaching Artists Institute and Thai TV. So again, good. You all enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy the rest of your week. So thank you. Namaste to everybody. So enjoy. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Good night. Good night. Good day, everybody.
Oh, yep, you too.
All right. That's encouraging. Thank you, Richard. Thank you. All right. Let me go back up here to banners. Show the rest of the banners. Then bam. We out. Thank you.